Good evening, everybody. So, are you all there? Come first. Our class will start very soon. Come first. So, come first, everybody. Very few are there. So, let's start our lesson. Today we start our day 3 lesson, that is plant kingdom. So last day we described the different types of classification. The artificial classification, natural system of classification, phylogenetic system of classification, numerical taxonomy, cytotaxonomy, chemotaxonomy. So today we direct move to our lesson starting from the thallophytes. Thallophyta they are undifferentiated or thallus like forms not differentiated into roots, stems and leaves. Next, the reproduction by their reproductive organ is single-celled and non-jacketed. And this single cell non-jacketed reproductive organ is called gametangia. Another important character of thallophytes embryo stage and vascular tissues and mechanical tissues are all absent. So these are the prime characters of thallophytes. So directly move the thallophyte, from thallophyte we move to algae. Under thallophytes. So what are the characteristics of algae? So first thing, the keyword, we are discussing the keyword for our revision. The chlorophyllus, thalloid body, autotrophic, largely aquatic, and they are both freshwater and marine both. Some forms are associated with fungi, that is the lichen. They are associated with algae and fungi. Sometimes algae is associated with animal. That is, we found the algae are associated with the sloth bear. By this algal activity, they can very much hide in the environment. So they are variable from size, from microscopic unicellular unicellular, we already discussed this one, the Chlamydomonas, They have colonial form. That is volvox. Some are filamentous form. That is Spirogyra. And Eulothrix. Moving to the next page. The algae are reproduce by vegetative, asexual and sexual. Vegetative reproduction mostly by fragmentation. Asexual reproduction by production of different types of spores. They may be mitospore or meiospore. And sexual reproduction takes place by fusion of two gametes. Gametes may be flagellated and similar in size, or non-flagellated, non-motile, but similar in size. All are there. In Chlamydomonas, in Spirogyra, such reproduction, this type of reproduction is called isogamous. Fusion of two gametes of dissimilar size in some species of Chlamydomonas also there, that is anisogamous. Fusion between one large non-motile static female and smaller motile male gamete, that is known as oogamous. In volvox, in fucus. So, in the algal group, the economic importance of different algae. So at least 50% of carbon dioxide of atmosphere is fixed by algae. Remember this one, it's a very important information. Keep it into mind. Number 2, spirulina and chlorella. This is an unicellular one, chlorella. Spirulina and chlorella are used as food supplements. In space also. Yes, Ankita, you are right. It is used in food for the astronauts. So food supplement in space also. The another important use, agar, that obtained from, you all know this one, it's a very important question, Gelidium and Graciladia. Remember this one, Gelidium and Graciladia. Yes, you are all right. Gelidium and Graciladia is used to grow microbes. These are helps in growing microbes in laboratory. Another important concept of algae, that is algin. Can you remember algin? These are from brown alga. It is used in, algin is used in shaving creams, in ice cream, another important use of algae, that is carrageenan. Carrageenan, this is from red algae, used as emulsifier. Emulsifier and cleaning agent, clearing. So these are the prime use of the algae. So carbon fixation done by algae, that is 50% of the carbon fixation. Fixation of carbon. Spirulina, chlorella, food supplement in space also. Agar, used from Gelidium and Graciladia. They grow in the microbes in laboratory. Algin from brown algae used in shaving cream and ice creams. And carrageenan from red algae used as emulsifier and clearing agent. So algae, the prime class of algae, that is also very important for us. We read certain extent of the class also. So the class of algae are differentiated into three prime groups. First one, chlorophyceae. Second one, phaeophyceae. And the third one is rhodophyceae. Chlorophyceae that is called green algae, resemble the land plants. They have cellulosic cell wall, starch as food reserve, and both chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B and carotenoid. As photosynthetic pigment, very important to remember. They occurs in all types of habitats. Most of the members have one or more storage bodies. So can you remember the storage bodies? That is Pyrenoids. That is Pyrenoid. Yes, Pyrenoids. Located in the chloroplast. So Pyrenoid contain protein besides starch. Can you remember? Pyrenoids are proteins besides starch. The examples are Chlamydomonas, Volvox, and Spirogyra. Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Spirogyra. Yes, Ankita. Protein besides starch. Protein core surrounded by starch. Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Spirogyra. Remember this. Many examples are there. We are remember chlorophyceae as Chlamydomonas, Volvox, and starch. Chara is also there. You are right. So you get the diagram how the chara is look like. This type of structure. So you get this type of diagram in NCERT. This is chara. And this is axis. And these are branches. In class Phaeophyceae, so Phaeophyceae that is called brown algae. They are formed primarily in marine habitats. Marine habitats. Unicellular forms are absent there. Here the pigments is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C. Carotenoids is also there. But the abundance of fucoxanthin yes, fucoxanthin is there. It is abundant. Food is stored in the form of laminarin and mannitol. The cells have cellulosic cell wall covered by outside a gelatinous coating. The gelatinous coating outside this cell, this gelatinous coat is called algae. This is gelatin sheath. Yes, Ankita, that is algae. The plant body is often differentiated into. So how it is look like? The below this part, hold fast. This part. This is the hold fast. This is the stripe, and then the structure is there. So hold fast, stripe and lamina. Yes, the fronds. Lamina is called frond, F-R-O-N-D. Hold fast, stripe, lamina or frond. The prime example of this group, that is Ectocarpus, Dictyota, very important. Sometimes we cannot differentiate it with another algal group. Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum, Fucus. So Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum, Fucus. Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum, Fucus, they are belong to Phaeophyceae. The another group, that is Rhodophyceae. Rhodophyceae, popularly known the red algae. So everybody join, very few are there. We are discussing a vital matter, but very few are listening. I need all of you, come fast. So in red algae, mostly marine except for a few freshwater species, they show predominance in red pigment. The red pigment. What is the red pigment? That is R phycoerythrin. R phycoerythrin. Other photosynthetic pigment include chlorophyll, carotenoid. Carotenoid is also there. Fucoxanthin is also there. Fucoxanthin is also there. And the reserve food in rhodophytes, you can remember, that is Floridian starch. Similar to amylopectin and glycogen in structure. In Floridian structure, which is similar to amylopectin and glycogen, that is also keep in mind. The example are the Polysyphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, Gelidium. Polysyphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, Gelidium. These are the prime member of Rhodophyceae. So now these are the prime characters we read from Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae. Keep it into mind, the prime characters. So we can differentiate it, Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, Rhodophyceae on the basis of their pigment and the food reserve. Here is starch is the food. Now moving to the next part, from algae to bryophyta. So bryophyta, these are non-vascular, terrestrial plants. They are living in moist habitat. They are multicellular. Diploid body, multicellular diploid body, they are called sporophyte. and lives as a parasite or an independent multicellular. They living on independent multicellular haploid gametophytic body. So sporophyte lives as, so they live as parasite on haploid gametophyte. Very important. This concept is very important. Remember this one. Which one is dominant and which one is recessive, which one is parasite. All these are keeping into mind. And the haploid gametophyte develop multicellular jacketed sex organ. You can remember the gametophyte are developed the jacketed sex organ. Male organs is called antheridium and female sex organ jacketed, that is called archegonium. They also known as, the bryophytes are known as the amphibians of plant kingdom. You know the reason? Why they are called amphibian in plant kingdom? Because they need water. Yes, they need water for their sexual reproduction, to complete the sexual reproduction. So the prime bryophytes are the Rixia, Mercantia, Funaria, Polytrichum, and Sphagnum. So these are the prime important bryophytes. The most economically important function of bryophyta, that is mosses along with lichen are the pioneer vegetation. You know what do you mean by pioneer vegetation? What is pioneer vegetation? We read this part in the ecology in plant succession. Pioneer vegetation means the first organisms to start any sorts of vegetation starts by the organism are called pioneer organism. So they start in bare rock and form the soil and make the place is suitable for the other plant group. Mosses from dense mats on the soil and that help to prevent the soil erosion. If it form the upper surface of the soil. Sphagnum, this one, it is called peat moss, used as fuel. Dry sphagnum can absorb 18 to 26 times its weight water absorbing ability and used by the gardeners to keep the seed bed moist. They keep the seed bed moist during transportation and propagation. It is also used in the place of absorbent cotton. The prime classes that are very important in bryophytes that is Hepaticopsida, also called liverworts, and the Bryopsida. That is the mosses. Under Hepaticopsida, the Rixia and Markensia are there. In the Markensia, see the structure. These are the rhizoids. This is the apical notch. On the apical notch, The gamma cup is there, very important. That is the midrib. And these are the rhizoids. So they are dorsoventrally flattened, dichotomously branched, haloid body. Upper surface bear the areole with the ventilating air pore that are represent the underlying air chamber with photosynthetic pigment, and the lower part is the storage region. The sporophyte in this group are simple or may possess foot, seta and capsule. In the Bryopsida, the foliose bryophytes having radial symmetry, they have multicellular rhizoids, oblique seta and branched filamentous. They have the juvenile stage that is called protonema. This is the juvenile structure. Remember this one. In the sporophyte of Bryopsida, centrally placed part is called columella. This is the assimilatory tissue and acellular. In this group, the peristome helps in spore dispersal. Under Hepaticopsida, the Rixia and Mercantia, under Bryopsida, the Sphagnum, Funaria, Polytrichum, etc. are there. So moving to the next part. That is Pteridophyta. Pteridophyta. This is the first vascular plants, vascular cryptogams. We can say the seedless vascular plant or vascular cryptogams. main plant body, that is sporophyte, that is diploid, and this is divisible into root, stem and leaves. Root, stem and leaves. Here the gametophyte, that is inconspicuous and independent. Leaves bearing sporangia, and the sporangia are called the sporophyll. Multicellular sporophyte is the dominant phase. The sporophyte is the dominant phase of pteridophyte, which produces spores. The life cycle of the pteridophyte shows alternation of generation between sporophyte and gametophyte. They show alternation of generation. Spores give rise to haploid multicellular free-living, mostly photosynthetic gametophyte, and that is called prothallus. That is called prothallus, having some sessile antheridia and archegonia. The prothallus having the two sex organs, the male and the female sex organs are there in the prothallus, the antheridia and archegonia. There are both Homosporas and Heterosporas. This is also very important question. Homosporas, similar spores, that is Drypteris, and Lycopodium. Heterosporas, that is micro and macro spores are there, that is present in Selaginella, Salvinia, these are the prime example of Homosporas, and these are the prime examples of Heterosporas. The megaspore and microspore germinate and give rise to megaspore. Always megaspore germinate to form the female one, and the microspores are germinate to form the male gametophytes. This is the precursor of seed habitat. Remember this one. This event, megaspores are germinate to form the female gametophyte. Microspore are germinate to form male gametophyte. This event is called the precursor of seed habitat. the seed habit, sorry. That precursor of seed habit. There are 4 classes in pteridophyte group. That is, you can remember this one. That is Psilopsida, Lycopsida, Sphenopsida, and Pteropsida. So Psilopsida, that is Xylotum, Lycopsida, Lycopodium, Selaginella, Sphenopsida, Equisetum, Pteropsida, the Diapteris. The most economic importance of pteridophytes, they are used in medicinal purposes, polishing the metal, soil binders, ornamental plants, and azolla as a biofertilizer. So they use in medicinal purpose, scoring and polishing metals. Equisetum is used as soil binders, ornamental plants, and biofertilizer. These are the important economic importance of pteridophytes. So everybody like, share and give response to all of you. I need your response. We all are moving to the big exam, upcoming NEET exam for 2022 and 2023. So try to participate and go through the lesson in 45 days. So everybody give your response. So everybody, do you understand everything? Show me your response. I am waiting for your response. Now the gymnosperm. The gymnosperms, these are the naked seeded plant. as seeds does not occur inside the fruit. All are perennial woody plants forming either bushes or trees. Sequoia, can we remember? One of the tallest tree species and lived for thousands of years. Mostly they are living in the colder regions. Roots in some genera, they have fungal association, and this is known as, I think you know this one, the mycorrhizal association found in Pinus, or nitrogen fixing blue-green algae. Blue-green algae is associated with cycas. They form coralloid roots. Leaves are needle-shaped to reduce the surface area, have thick cuticle and sunken stomata. They have cuticle and sunken stomata, the leaves. Anyhow, they are going to reduce transpiration. This is why the evolution is there, that the leaves are needle-shaped and stomata are sunken. Xylem does not possess, very important, xylem does not possess vessels, very important to remember. Xylem does not possess vessels except in some Gametophytes. Phloem is without companion cell and sieve tubes. Phloem is without companion cell and sieve tubes. They are heterosporas, produce haploid microspore and megaspore in microsporangia and megasporangia. They are born on microsporophyll and megasporophyll. They form cones, or this is also known as strobili. Pollen cones and seed cones, and respectively. Microsporophyll give rise to pollen grain, that is male gametophyte. In ovule or megasporangia, the megaspore give rise to multicellular female gametophyte, which bear two or more archegonia, that's the female sex organ. In this gymnosperm group, that is no independent existence of gametophyte. No independent existence of gametophyte. It remains retained on sporophyte. So pollen grains are pollinated by wind. They are anemophilous in nature. Pollen tube carrying male gametes grow towards the archegonia in ovule and discharge its contents. Here the another important content that I think you can remember this one, that you read out. Here the endosperm is haploid in nature. The endosperm is haploid in nature. Why? Because they are formed before fertilization and represents the female gametophyte. After fertilization, zygote develops into embryo and ovules into seeds which are not covered. So ovules are formed into seed, but they are not covered. The prime group, the prime example, the Pyrenoids, the Cycas, the Citrus, these are the economic gymnosperms. From this we came to the last part of our lesson, that is the angios. The angiosperms. Stay live with us. The last part of our lesson today, the angiosperm. The angiosperm are highly evolved plants and form the dominant vegetative in presence of the dry earth. The sporophyte is differentiated into root, stem and leaf, and xylem is mainly made up of vessels which are absent in gymnosperm. Here the male gametophyte. So male gametophyte is known as the pollen grain, and the female gametophyte, that is the embryo sac. So female gametophyte is angiosperm, that is nothing but embryo sac. Male gametophyte in angiosperm, that starts with the pollen grain. Flowers are the peculiar. In angiosperm, the flower is formed by aggregation of one or both types of sporophyll, microsporophyll or stamen, and megasporophyll or carpel. Microsporophyll show terminalization of microsporangia. This microsporophyll is consist of the filament and anther. So that is the filament and that is the anther part. So that is the microsporophyll or stamen, and the female gametophyte, that is form of stigma, style and ovary. The stigma, style and ovary. So that is the pistil or the carpel. Embryo sac possesses one oospore. You can remember the embryo sac, the micropylar end and callosal end. In micropylar end, one is ovum and two synavids are there, and here the definite nucleus, and the callosal end, the three antipodal cells are there. So here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cell but 8 nucleated stage. 7 cell but 8 nucleated stage is there. And when the pollen tube are getting entry by the process of double fertilization, when the pollen tube are getting entry, the first sperm are fuses with the ovum to form the diploid zygote, and this zygote develops into embryo, and the second one attached with the central definite nucleus, that is N plus N plus N, the primary endosperm nucleus, the triple fusion from the endosperm, later free nuclear division to form the endosperm cell. That is triploid in nature. Fruit is the peculiar to angiosperm. Fruit develops from whole ovary. So ovary that develops into fruit here. That is the unique structure of angiosperm. Divided into two groups, that is the monocots and dicots. Monocots and dicots are the two having one cotyledon, and two cotyledon are there. In the angiosperm, the xylem contain vessels and phloem that contain the sieve tube and companion cell. So both are there. Just reverse to the gymnosperm, xylem with vessel and phloem with sieve tube and companion cell. So we almost described the prime characters of plant kingdom. So next day we start our next lesson, that is the animal kingdom, and some questions are also practiced. Till then, keep studying, serious studying. Goodbye everybody. Good night.